This is Rematch, a 1v1 puzzle fighting board game that uses marbles. Like real marbles. Marbles that go in here. Each player selects a character and takes turns making attacks by taking one or many connected and matching marbles. So like 1 or 2 or 4 marbles that will activate their corresponding attack. The more marbles you pool, the bigger the attack. They must be taken in an unbroken and non-backtracking chain with no diagonals. So every Tetris shape is valid to make except for the T shape, since you can't ever backtrack. Oh, by the way, you can only pool from the 2 rows closest to you. You can only take these 10 marbles for your attacks, and your opponent can use their 10. Once you take any amount of marbles, you put those back into the arcade machine, and new ones will come down. To win the game, you must force your opponent to lose all their credits. Players pay 1 credit when they have one of their 3 health dials hit 0. Thematically, these dials are your arcade machine's buttons. When this dial button reaches 0, that color breaks, and all of those actions are unusable until you repair the button and it flips back over. Now let's get to a turn. All you do is take marbles. So you take 1, 2, or 4 of one color, do the corresponding attack, and that's it. Attacks can have a ton of effects, but the most basic is to deal damage. You can choose which button to target with your damage, but you cannot target broken buttons. Attacks can also interact with your character's special components and abilities. Like this ability lets the DJ be able to place down a beat, which does something immediately, and the beat will do something when it finishes too. Attacks can also give you the adoration of a fan, and there are 3 colors of fans. Once one is on your side, you'll get to do a bonus kicker ability for each of your attacks of that color. Your fan will stay there on your side until your opponent might do something cool to get them to their side. The fans are fickle. But yeah, once you take the marbles, put them back into this arcade looking machine, new marbles will come down, and that's the end of a turn. So now lastly, we must explain those buttons breaking in more detail. When a button breaks, you first must pay a coin to continue playing. If you can't afford to do so, you lose the game. Continues restore 1 HP to the broken button, but you can't use attacks of a broken button's color. Rather, marbles of that color are now short-circuiting, meaning that all marbles of that color allow you to bridge the gap between other marbles. And when you clear marbles like that, for each marble used to short circuit, that restores 2 health to that broken button. When a button hits 9 or more HP, it is instantly flipped over, but you can also regain access to that button's attacks earlier by flipping it over at its current HP at the start of your turn. Oh, and you want to make sure that buttons don't stay broken for long, because if you already have a broken button, when your opponent breaks another one of your buttons, you need to pay 2 credits to continue instead of just 1. So that's Rematch. There's plenty of asymmetric characters, so they all use marbles a bit differently. But there's no way to see how they truly perform until you get out there in a match of your own, in Rematch, the puzzle fighter board game.